Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, in my live stream. Today we are going to talk about, of course, about this what is entitled. Well, so the situation about the British pound and what is going to happen with the euro. So we have to first answer a few questions, or we have to ask a few questions first. First, why am I why now is a large possibility that the British pound will get out of the SDR. As you know, SDR is a very important thing. SDR is for special drawing rights. And if we talk about special drawing rights, we talk about everything and nothing. And I believe that in next year, British pound may be forced to get out, to leave of the SDR basket. And this SDR basket is quite important for many cases. First, this basket is important because it allows to keep the current. It allows to keep the current current status for currency that is inside this basket. Actually, there is no much currencies in this basket. There is only British pound, which is holding not a lot of this portion, of this share of this special joint right basket. Actually, is the smallest now. Probably is the smallest. Of course, there is also a Japanese yen, which is quite small as well, and there is, of course, Chinese yuan, and US dollar and euro, of course. And those five currencies have one big issue, and this big issue is called China. China, ladies and gentlemen, this issue is called China. What about China? Well, China is not growing anymore. China is large already. It's not large, it's huge. It's not huge, it's the biggest, it's the largest, it's the strongest. It does not have obligations like the US dollar. And it's not going on obligations like British pound. And we have to understand one major obstacle for the British pound. The British pound is not Chinese yuan. The British pound is not US dollar, and it is not euro. So now let's imagine that we have 2028. This is where the meeting of the International Monetary Fund, IMF, will gather together, and they will decide what to do. Not with the British pound at all, because British pound anyway is lost. But it is just a matter of time when they will get out, when they will be forced to leave this basket. The problem is that how much to give to China? How much to give to China? Is China going to get massive share, additional massive share of this basket, or China will get less than it's supposed to? I believe that China should get even 5%, even 5%, even 5%. Ladies and gentlemen, China probably will get 5%, 4%. And now ask yourself, if China is growing and will receive 5% SDR, so how on earth Japanese yen and British pound will not lose? You may think, oh no, the British pound is too strong and has only 5-6% today, so they will not take from British, but they will take from, let's say, so-called Europeans, that they will cut off share of the ECB, European Central Bank. Well, I don't think so. I don't think so, really. It's just dream. It's just dream for people who believe that ECB is not strong enough to keep it. Ladies and gentlemen, from the last meeting, IMF meeting, European Union actually got bigger in this field, in this matter of the Eurozone. So there are 2 more countries now in Eurozone than before, and on the last SDR basket, okay, meeting. So Euro now has 2 more countries. Of course, some people they may say, oh, it's only Bulgaria and Croatia. Well, yes, it's only Bulgaria and Croatia because this is not; those countries are not quite big. But you see, Croatia is 5 or 6 million people, and Bulgaria is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 million. You never know with Bulgarians. So this is additional 50 million people. However, Bulgaria and Croatia are both very touristic countries. Actually, they live on tourism, Bulgaria and Croatia. So now they exchange everything. You know, they exchange the goods and services for the euro. So if they do it, they will receive a lot of it during this summer. What is there? Fari Albar 1648. What's that? Is it Chinese? I don't speak Chinese. I don't know what you posted. You can explain in English, please, and then I will be able to have some conversation with you. So, you know, the situation is not bad. The situation for the British pound is not difficult because British are so weak or something like this. No, they are just compounding. I would say that down to world economy. and it's just fault of Chinese, and this is fault of the world. The world is growing. The world is growing. So if the world is growing, if China is growing, if India is growing, if the Asia is growing, then it must take place of those that are not growing. And the British pound is not growing at all, ladies and gentlemen. At all. This first and most, I have to wear something. Okay, I'm going. So I hope you hear me well. I hope you hear me well. So the British pound will be moved or removed as soon as Chinese will get bigger share. This share may not be the last, so the share may not be the last move that will crash the pound out of the SDR. It will be giving a bigger share in SDR to euro, because euro is growing as well. Euro is growing as well. So this is the first major obstacle for British pound, and first major thing that will happen to British pound that will influence wiping out British pound out of its position. Second one is that people massively are exchanging all the British pounds for gold and silver. They don't believe anymore British pound. You know, now actually British pound has a massive interest rate. Massive. Just massive. But it's not keeping on. It's not rising. It's actually losing. Actually, it's losing. And will be losing. And will be losing to gold and to silver. This is the second point where British pound will lose. Third point is where ladies and gentlemen, the third is where you know now Britain is losing influence in the European Union. It's losing influence. What does it mean? Well, Okay. Oh. Some technical issues. It is gone now. So, you know, uh, the most problematic for the British pound on the continent is that they got out of the European Union, but they overestimated their capacity to cope with the expenses of this divorce, and this costing now British businesses in Eurozone and in European Union many losers. You know, there are movements in many countries to get rid of the British companies, you know, because there are many British companies in Europe, but those companies usually has no additional value, no added value to economies, so are very easily to replace. When Britain was in the European Union, that was very easy to travel to Britain and for British to Europe, but also British businesses could go to European countries and take places in those countries by overtaking many branches in many trades. There are many companies in the European Union that will lose and will be forced to get out of those countries, as the place, you know, business is business and people are hungry. And there are businesses, British businesses, like some shops, like Tesco, that, you know, Europeans don't need. It's not, this is no high-tech value-added corporation. This is just a trade that actually usually people want to take the, you know, the local people like to have in their pocket. However, you know, if there is a European Union, you can trade in any countries. But if you get out of the European, for your companies, that will be very difficult to. That will be very difficult to do business for British companies. And those British companies, ladies and gentlemen, will be forced to get out of many countries. Or it will be Tesco, or it will be companies like maybe British Petrol, because how on earth would you let's start on the village. You have your village, you live in the village or in small town, and your family had a business, and that was a petrol station, and you had a good life. Your children, even maybe grandchildren, could live on this petrol station, on this income. But you know, during open borders, British came and took over your place, let's say in Spain, or in Italy, or in Portugal, or in I don't know, Poland. And Now it's easy to get this place back. Okay, it's easy. You see, in many countries there are companies like shopping malls. When they come, the local business is closed. When they open the shops, big shops or many shops, like Lidl or Auchan, then they, you see, usually lose their the local people use competitiveness, but now this competitiveness could be reversed on expense of those British companies. So local people in Spain or Italy can get back their petrol stations, shops, and this will be the first thing that they will do, I think. This is just a matter of time. Why would you on earth pay for petrol to British than to your local family? This is so stupid, you know. So people, this is first. People are calculating, and this is the first thing that they will do, and they do in Netherlands. Today in Netherlands, the BP, British Petroleum, is kind of forced to get out, to sell the business. So the British Petroleum will get out of the Netherlands probably. They will be sold. So we've got three major obstacles for British pound, and this will not change even if they will try very hard. No way. This is not they can't revert it. It's not possible. They can't revert it. They will not revert it. It's not possible. So we've got three major influential points, 3 points that will change the perception of British pound worldwide. So first, SDR basket, they will be forced to get out, or they will get a smaller share. Second, is the British businesses, and third, it's gold and silver, and fourth, actually, is about fourth. I will talk later on. I hope you like it. Goodbye and see you soon.